The big story today, of course, the State of the Union from President Obama, but come on, who cares? No, we do expect some interesting things to come out of the State of the Union, mainly who reaches over and shakes the president's hand. That by far the most exciting moment, really when the Sergeant of Arms actually says, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. If you don't think that's cool, something's wrong with you. But we're going to focus today on a couple of fascinating things. One, the Oscar nominations are out. Chris Lemire from the Associated Press will be here. We'll talk about those in the way that, no, probably a lot of people can, but I think it'll be gripping. And we're going to talk about Michelle Bachmann, who is delivering the response to the response, the co-response, the Tea Party response. Paul Ryan giving the actual Republican response. But I think the mainstream media has done a ridiculously poor job of relaying just how whacked out of her mind Michelle Bachmann is. So we'll have a little Michelle Bachmann retrospective that I think you'll enjoy. First, though, the Hatch Act. The Bush administration has been found in violation of the Hatch Act, the 1939 Act, restricting the political activities of government agencies. The Bush administration found in violation of 183 violations of the Hatch Act. So here's the bottom line on that. Bush administration found in 183 violations of the Hatch Act before the 2006 midterm elections, the 3 months prior to the midterm elections. Bush administration officials attended 197 events. At 183 of those events, a Republican candidate for office was there. Now, here is what the little known, as it's described here in Politico, although if you're a frequent viewer of this program, the Young Turks, it's not that little known. The little known Office of Special Counsel has cited numerous violations of the Hatch Act. Again, 183 violations of the Hatch Act. And here exactly is what they have found. It says here that based on the extent of, the entire Office of Political Affairs staff was enlisted in pursuit of Republican, the entire Office of Political Affairs staff was enlisted in pursuit of Republican success at the polls, and many OPA employees believed that the effort was part of their official job duties. The Office of Special Counsel goes on to say that based on the extent of the activities described below, OSC concludes that the political activities of OPA employees were not incidental to their official functions, and thus U.S. Treasury funds were unlawfully used to finance efforts to pursue Republican victories at the polls in 2006. Basically, what the little-known Office of Special Counsel has found is that Karl Rove orchestrated 10, no less than 10, federal agencies: Transportation, Interior, HUD, Education, Agriculture, HHS, Energy, the Veterans Administration, Small Business Administration, and the Office of National Drug Policy, for their employees to use their federal power to support Republican candidates for office. And there is a law which expressly forbids that. Now, what's interesting about this is how it relates to, remember Shirley Sherrod, the Obama agriculture employee who was wildly incorrectly outed for what she didn't say, for misrepresenting what she said in front of the NAACP? So let's go back to July. I loved this story. Let's go back to July of this year, just back to July of this year, and Megyn Kelly, who is a host of Fox Show, and she's also one of their legal analysts. She's on the O'Reilly Factor with Bill O'Reilly. And Bill O'Reilly wants to know, again, 4 years after this obvious violation of the Hatch Act by Karl Rove and the Bush administration, Bill O'Reilly wants to ask Megyn Kelly whether it's possible that this fairly insignificant, my apologies to Shirley Sherrod, whether this fairly insignificant Agriculture Department employee, Shirley Sherrod, violated the Hatch Act with her speech in front of the NAACP. So here's Bill O'Reilly first introducing Megyn Kelly and setting it up by playing you a little clip of Shirley Sherrod. Here's Bill O'Reilly back in July of last year.
In addition to her exposition on race, Shirley Sherrod made some political comments to the NAACP audience.
I haven't seen such mean-spirited people as I've seen lately over this issue of health care.
All right.
Some of the racism we thought was buried didn't surface. Now, we endured 8 years of the Bushes, and we didn't do the stuff these Republicans are doing because you have a black president.
Well, it seems to me very clear that Shirley Sherrod is trying to raise money for Democratic candidates. Anyway, so that's obviously going to be the point that Bill O'Reilly takes. We can see that coming. So the next thing he does is brings on Fox legal analyst and incredibly good-looking legal analyst, Megyn Kelly.
Now, the Hatch Act prohibits federal employees from politicking while on the job. So did Ms. Sherrod violate the act? Here now, attorney, Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly. You see her daily on America Live at 1 p.m. So what say you?
So there you go. Bill O'Reilly has brought in Megyn Kelly. He's explained the Hatch Act. So while on the job, can federal employees sort of use their federal status to look to raise money and solicit and work for candidates for office? Obviously, he's got a Fox, he's got the 1 o'clock host on Fox, America Live, or whatever it is they call that frickin' show. And he's got Megyn Kelly. She's an attorney on, and he asks her, Megyn, what say you? Obviously, she's on Fox. We know her answer.
So what say you?
I say no.
What? What the hell just happened? That can't possibly be what I just heard. What? Yeah. Do we get that wrong? That can't be. All right. Anyway, so here's the rest of Megyn Kelly's answer.
The Hatch Act basically prohibits federal employees from engaging in political activity while on duty. So was she on duty here? No, she was at an NAACP event.
Let me stop you. Why was she invited to that event?
That doesn't matter. You have to be acting in your official capacity, doing your official job duties, supposed to be doing your official job duties.
So the law is that narrowly drawn?
It's very narrowly drawn. The Hatch Act really prohibits only the most egregious cases. What they're trying to get at is stopping someone from using the power of the federal government to pressure other employees or others into donating to a political candidate in particular, or getting behind
like the unions do.
So Bill O'Reilly, what the unions do, the unions who aren't the federal government, Megyn Kelly won't be budged, using the political power of the federal government to pressure other federal employees to donate money to political candidates. That's the Hatch Act. That's exactly what Karl Rove did and the Office of Political Affairs. That's precisely what they did. That's precisely what the Office of Special Counsel has found that they did. Exactly what's happened. But Bill O'Reilly, of course, now, even though that story had long been out, he won't bring that up, but he mentions the unions. It's painful. It's painful. And of course, but Megyn Kelly, God bless her, she's unmoved by anything. But Bill O'Reilly, of course, he'll keep going, he'll keep trying, but never in a million years will he mention the name Karl Rove. Continue.
And I bet if you went back to the Bush administration, you'd find a lot of people who would say...
Well, that's what I asked Laura Ingraham. I mean, you know, is that disqualification? Well, you can go back all the way to...
You're allowed in this country, just because you become a government official, it doesn't mean you sacrifice your First Amendment rights. You're allowed to have
as long as it's 4:30, not 4 o'clock.
So I like it that just at the end of that, Bill O'Reilly gets in a little dig suggesting that federal employees all get off at 4 o'clock. So it's okay to do it 4:30. All right. So anyway, of course, the Justice Department saying that, by the way, the punishment for the Hatch Act is dismissal. All those guys from the Bush administration are gone, so the Justice Department isn't going to pursue it because they want the Obama administration looking forward. They never want to go back. They always want to go forward. As Cenk pointed out, I think correctly on MSNBC, you rob a bank, you just want to say, oh, no, I'm looking forward. We're not looking backwards, so don't prosecute me for the crime. I just thought this was an interesting way to look at the Hatch Act by seeing how Fox News dealt with it back in 2004 by going after Shirley Sherrod, but not Karl Rove.
Does he not know? He maybe didn't know that Megyn Kelly was going to come out and say that. He has to know. They planned the show.
I don't know. But now all of a sudden, in addition to what I wanted to do with Megyn Kelly, now perhaps we could also go to dinner. You, the hottest member of Congress, I don't think there's any question about this. When these two women were running against each other, Anna, when these two women were running against each other, this is a discussion about the hottest member of Congress. When these two women were running against each other, it was pretty obvious that the winner was going to take that mantle. Do you agree? You find this woman attractive?
This woman is extremely attractive, and you know, there's this debate going on about whether or not Democrats or Republicans have the attractive women, right? So, of course, I'm biased, and I'm going to say Democrats have the most attractive women. Except the freshman member of Congress who won a poll from Huffington Post as the hottest is a woman by the name of Kristi Noem. She's a representative in South Dakota. And I agree, she's extremely beautiful, and
yeah, she's
must
good.
be nice. She's
good.
39 years old.
Yeah, she's good looking. I mean, that doesn't seem like the greatest picture.
That is the worst picture you could possibly pick.
She looked like Keith Richards in that picture. Not that one, the one before. There's a little video of her with the
We
horse.
don't take a lot of polls or hold many caucuses. We do what needs to be done.
Hello.
That's what I'll do in Washington. Unlike my opponent, I'll vote to lower the national debt, vote against wasteful spending, repeal government-mandated health care, and work every day to create jobs. Oh, and one more thing. My first vote won't be to make Nancy Pelosi speaker. I'm Kristi Noem, and I approve this message. Sorry, Nancy.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow, that was sort of excessive in there. Yeah, but that was cute. That was a good ad, too.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't vote for her, but I liked it.
No, totally. But we have a picture of who she beat. Like, she beat Stephanie Herseth Sandlin, who's not bad looking either. I mean, okay, that's
she's a cutie.
Yeah.
She's a cutie. I feel like she has the cute factor, whereas Kristi Noem has the hot factor.
Yeah, I mean, Stephanie Herseth Sandlin is a little older, but I think you haven't found the best Stephanie Herseth Sandlin photo, because she's a good-looking woman. It was referred to. I mean, come on, for a congresswoman. Come on.
The hair has got to go, but
Really?
she is very cute.
Wow, God, you people are tough on each other.
We are tough on each other, yes. But
Yeah.
no. She's a beautiful woman. So is Kristi Noem. Gorgeous. You know,
Come on, who doesn't want to see some bipartisan action between these two?
I work with pigs.
You do. What was with the all of a sudden the construction workers out there during the commercial?
During the commercial? Why? Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, with you guys. Woo! Ow! Whoosh.
I was like, wait, we're in a commercial. The construction workers come out and talk to her. She's on a farm.
No, you guys with the yelling and the cavorting.
No, what's funny is when Ben first mentioned that, I thought he was talking about the actual construction workers that are working on the room right next to our suite. I was like, were they watching that?
No, these clowns. She lives with her husband, Brian, spells his name incorrectly and foolishly, and her 3 children, Cassidy, Kennedy, and Booker.
Questionable.
Come on. Well, he spells his name Bryon. Okay, here's how you spell Brian. Brian. That's Brian. It's like his name is Byron and the letters got transposed. So Cassidy, Kennedy, and Booker already makes me hate them. They live on a ranch. That's okay. She raises Angus cattle and shows quarter horses. And then, you start to like her. Like, her father died unexpectedly, and she had to return to the family ranch full time. And then she puts herself through school. She has 27 traffic citations.
Oh, I love this fact about it. Okay, can I say something really quick? Yeah. I know very little about her. Okay, I was indifferent until I found out that she had 27 traffic citations over the past 21 years. 20 of those were speeding tickets.
Yeah.
I fucking love her. And people found out about this and she had to apologize about it. Go get it, girl. It's all right, Kristi Noem. Because let me tell you something. I am going to beat her record. In 20 years, when somebody comes to me and asks about my driving record, I'll be like, yeah, I kind of beat Kristi Noem.
But that's what they do in South Dakota. And there's, these vast open spaces in South Dakota and Wyoming and North Dakota and the rest of the country there where I can't remember any state. Wyoming, did I say Wyoming? Montana.
No, Montana.
All right. Vast open spaces where you can just drive.
So why wouldn't you drive
There was
crazy?
big, when they dropped the speed limit to 55 miles an hour, big complaints in that part of the country because they're like, A, we have this sort of libertarian bent, like, why are you telling us how fast we can drive our cars?
Right.
And also, it literally made no sense. I mean, it's straight highway forever, and you're driving 55, and it feels ridiculous.
You know what really grinds my gears? When you're no. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go on a little rant, okay? But I have to do it. The number one thing that irritates me is the cops with the radar when you're on your way to Vegas. It's unacceptable. Literally, you're on a highway with no cars for miles and miles and miles and miles, okay? And it's a straight highway, no curves, no turns, no nothing. Why do I have to go 65? Why can't I go 75, 80, or maybe even 90?
You know what really grinds my gears?
No, but also, when I drive to Arizona, they have stationary cameras that take pictures. That's annoying. I'm like, there's not even a cop there. At least a cop, you're like, oh, I kind of see a car parked to the side. You might pick them up. But then you're like crossing, and out of nowhere, there's these cameras and on both sides, and they'll mail you the ticket.
When I drove to Arizona last year, I kept deliberately the dealer tags on the front of my car until after the trip. And it was awesome, because why not? So I don't know whether that makes any sense in Arizona, but I mean, what the hell? Something to think about. I mean,
that's totally true, because then they don't get your license plate. You go scot-free. You can speed away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I
mean,
like
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's against the law, and if they catch you, you probably go to prison with Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
It's really interesting, because I know a person.
And a bunch of immigrants, if they've rounded up because they are brown-skinned.
Right.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, why don't you just drive and break a small law in Arizona? I'm sure it'll go fine. I'm sure there won't be a problem. Yeah, they'd be happy to have you.
All right. That's it. Christy, no.
Wait, I was going to say one other thing why you don't like her. She wants to end the estate tax. She supports ethanol subsidies. Who cares? You'd hate her.
No. I would never vote for her. I don't like her. The only thing that I do like about her is that she likes to speed. And look, people are going to be like, oh, Anna likes to speed. It's so dangerous. You're going to kill people. No, I don't want to kill people. I don't want to get a ticket for going 75 in a 65.
She, by the way, also stop sign violations, seatbelt violations, no driver's license violations, failure to appear notices, 2 arrest warrants.
Oh, she's awesome. She's got my vote just on that alone. No, I'm kidding.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Where did you learn that? What's up with that?
I learned it from Jesus. He would say it, and it caught on. I like it. I'm going to use it more often.
Jesse Ventura.
Yes, Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura is suing the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA for body scans and pat-downs. He believes that they're unreasonable searches and seizures. And he says that he had hip surgery back in 2008, and they put a titanium plate in his hip. And, every single time he goes through the metal detectors, they beep. So before, they would take the wand and, wand him up, make sure that, he doesn't have any weapons. But now they don't even do that. They want to pat him down or make him go through the full body scanners.
I actually don't get this whole story. I missed it because I travel all the time. So you still go through the metal detector, right? Which is what I always go through.
Yes.
And if you don't go off there, there's no problem. So this thing only applies if you go off at the metal detector, and then you go through either the
full body scanner or the advanced
and the full body scanner shows your goods.
Yes.
Right, and that's what people object to. Or the pat downs, which are like
where people are jiggly wiggling.
And you're like being groped at a bar.
Right.
Right.
Okay. In fact, you're being groped at a bar. Have you been groped at a bar?
Come on, look at me. All the time.
I love the lawsuit. I love what the lawsuit says. It says that the advanced pat-downs exposed him to humiliation and degradation through unwanted touching, gripping, and rubbing of the intimate areas of his body. So he doesn't like it. And it's interesting because this isn't like some class action lawsuit. He's just suing on behalf of himself. He wants people to leave him alone because he's a frequent traveler. He's like, look, I got a titanium plate in my hip. Just stop with the advanced pat-downs. I don't want a guy, putting his hand up my butt cheek.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people really object to this. I guess I don't know how bad the touching was.
I haven't, had an advanced pat-down yet, so I've only read about other people's experiences. But, they really go in there, and they just, they touch you where you don't want to be touched, and I can imagine that it's super uncomfortable. So I could see why people would object to it.
And what's the objection to the other thing? That they.
Some people, well, okay, there are two objections. Some people claim that it causes cancer. Studies are very inconclusive on that. Okay?
So the theory is if you don't want that, then you've got to get molested.
Right, exactly.
All right.
And another objection, of course, to the full body scanners is if you're a man, it's going to show the size of your Johnson, and you don't want that, right? TSA officials.
Or maybe you do.
Right, exactly. Congratulations.
Yeah, I sort of just skipped this story when it came out. I just didn't care. It just didn't strike me as it seemed like a big deal, like a racy story that everyone was focusing on that really wasn't that important.
We did this really interesting story about two TSA officials, actually several TSA officials that gave one guy a really hard time, and this guy was also an employee at the airport. They gave him a hard time because he walked through the scanner and apparently his penis was small. So they were making fun of him and giving him a really hard time at work. So he ended up suing them for harassment. But I mean, you know.
Wait, he worked for the TSA?
He also worked for the TSA, the one that was getting made fun of, the one with the small wee-wee.
Oh, well, that's not cool.
That's not cool. So, I mean, of course, it's going to bring up some issues. People don't want it. There was also questions about whether or not TSA officials would leak the full body scans online.
Yeah, all right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay, all right. I hear you.
All right.
I'm down. I'm with Jesse Ventura.
You're with Jesse Ventura?
You know, I'd shot a pilot with Jesse Ventura. I just realized that at MSNBC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was going to host a show, and I was like his newsreader. I totally forgot that until just now, like right after I got out here to LA. Yeah, like he was the host, and then I like read the news, and he reacted to it. That's right, I forgot.
And it was just a regular news show on MSNBC?
Yeah, it was going to be a show, and I I was his foil for him to react to. He was very nice. I totally forgot that. That's right, yeah. Oddly enough, that show did not happen. Yeah, there you go.
All right, app developers are trying to come up with technology that would allow people to pay their bills and pay merchants using their phones rather than using credit cards. All right, this is super interesting because app developers believe that your phone will replace your wallet by 2015. All right, so merchants such as Starbucks, they have this new app where instead of using a Starbucks card, you just download this app on your phone, you put money into the app, and then you go to Starbucks and you let them
I
asked
about it yesterday. You know, I have the Starbucks card, and you know, I swipe it, I reload it every time, and they have the thing at the store. I go to a lot of Starbucks, but the one right in my neighborhood that I walk to every morning, they have it. And I was asking them about it, and they're already using it. And yeah, they just point the thing at your phone.
No, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's apparently, I'm going to get it. I mean, I'll download it on my BlackBerry. It's amazing, and then you reload it that way. And I guess that'll be true for your credit card too. You'll just show the credit. But what happens when you lose the phone? That seems crazy dangerous.
That is the problem. Yeah. I love that you bring that up because, I mean, people can make the same argument about their wallets. People lose their wallets all the time.
But it's so much easier to lose the phone.
Exactly. Okay. I leave my phone all over the place. I leave the phone on the desk when I'm in here doing the show.
Right.
I'll leave it in my car while I'm out jogging, that kind of stuff, right? So it's a lot easier for you to lose your phone, and if you have all of your credit information, all of your finances on that phone, then you're screwed if you lose it.
It seems like it. Like, I think we have to think it through. Like, are you really more likely to lose that than your wallet? And they're probably going to protect it in some way. I don't know. Steve?
Yeah, first of all, this has been happening in South Korea for the last 4 or 5 years. And secondly, it's so simple. If you lose your phone, you have remote access to it, and you just delete everything.
What do you mean you have remote access to it?
You know, just a way you can, for example, you can just go to some website and just type in your phone number and just delete it.
But what if you're like not at a computer? I mean, what if you're like, oot?
Well, you can call it in, whatever. It's the same thing as losing a credit card in your wallet.
So they just erase the data from the phone?
Yeah, they would just lock it so you can't use whatever.
So it'd be the same,
password
you'd be
is.
protected the same way you are if somebody uses your credit card.
Exactly.
And it takes you a day to figure out the card's gone.
Exactly.
You're like, hey, I lost it then, that's not my charges. You'd be I guess it's the same.
No, I don't like it. It's different and it scares me.
I hear you. I don't like different.
Yeah, I like to keep things the same.
Yeah.
I like my credit cards.
Whatever Steve's talking about, man. As many people get hacked into their computers and things happen all the time, there's these guys who can do things, and next thing they're in your system. To take your credit card, yeah, they can take your
I know,
credit
but
card online and stuff. Yeah,
do you pay your bills online?
Some of them I do. Like certain ones I'll do. The ones that are too big of a pain in the ass to do any other way.
But like, there's a danger of like us sounding like my mom, who's like, oh, I don't want to pay that bill online. That's not safe. You know, like nobody's ever broken into the mail and stolen anything. I'm a little dubious when the example is like, we've been doing it in South Korea for years. Like, you know, what's so great about South Korea? Like, what's happening there that we want to emulate? Like, you're about to go to war? We don't fight wars in the United States of America, okay? We're a peaceful country who hasn't fought a war in, what, since the Korean War, where we kicked your ass. No, actually, that's not what happened. All right. Anyway.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you what is actually in Taco Bell's ground beef.
Since the Korean War, where we tied your ass. All right.
We'll be back.